Okay, Salman, how are you today?
I'm doing good, my brother. How about yourself?
I'm doing good, doing good. So for anyone listening in, me and Salman had a discussion earlier. We recorded it. It was about sort of order out of chaos in the new world. And now in this episode, it's going to be a friendly debate as to whether Freemasonry is still relevant in the new world, in this modern world. This is what we're going to debate. Now, it's going to be a friendly debate because I have a lot of love for Salman. I'm talking in a platonic way. I want you guys to know that I have a lot of love for this brother, Salman.
Thank you, brother. I love you too.
Good, good. Okay, so the question is, it is, and this will just be a relaxed debate. Is Freemasonry still relevant? Let's start off with credentials. Okay, so now I handed in my resignation from Freemasonry on the 27th of April, 2021, Common Era. So I no longer consider myself a Freemason. I handed in my resignation. And while I was a Freemason, I was involved with recruitment and retention. So that is to recruit new Freemasons. I was involved in that. And I sort of undertook several projects. I was a master mason. I could have gone, beyond the third degree, but I chose not to. I mean, I was already involved in these projects. But those are my sort of credentials. Can you explain your Freemasonic credentials in full?
Oh, yes, my brother. So before I speak, I represent myself only as
Mm-hmm.
a free man under free speech, and I do not represent any Grand Lodge statements or opinions or any statements of any Masonic organizations. So with that said, I am a Master Mason in good standing. I'm also a 32nd degree Scottish Rite Freemason, and I'm also a Royal Arch Freemason.
Under what? Sorry, I forgot to mention, I was under the Grand Lodge of Ireland. What Grand Lodges are you under?
So as a Master Mason, I'm under the United Grand Lodge of England, which is
Mm-hmm.
the UGLE, the
Yeah.
Mother Grand Lodge of the world.
Mm-hmm.
And for my Scottish Rite and Royal Arch, I'm under the Grand Lodge of Pennsylvania, Free and Accepted Masons, which is here in Philadelphia.
Excellent. And for any non-Masons listening in, the Grand Lodge of England, the United Grand Lodge of England, which our brother here, Salman, is a member of, we can call that the most premier Grand Lodge in the world. And I think Grand Lodge of Ireland considers itself as the second most premier Grand Lodge in the world. And there are a series of other Grand Lodges, but it could be argued that those are the two most premier Grand Lodges in the world, with United Grand Lodge of England being the most premier. Is that something you would agree with?
Yes, definitely, because that is the official start of
Mm-hmm.
Freemasonry in the modern world. And
Mm-hmm.
any Grand Lodge, for it to be considered recognized in some way, it has to first get recognized by the Mother Grand Lodge, and to a certain extent, you could say.
I would
So,
agree. Yeah, I would agree to that. I would agree to
yeah.
that. So I'll let you start off first. Then again, it's just a free flowing conversation between two very good friends. So I'll ask the question: is Freemasonry still relevant in the new world, in this modern age?
Yes, it is. And again, I represent myself only. I don't represent any Grand Lodge or Masonic organization.
Mm,
So that said, I would say in the modern world, in the new world, Freemasonry and its values do
mm,
hold much value because it teaches us the aspect of human unity and human love in comparison to what my faith teaches is to become one ummah, to become one people.
mm,
And Freemasons exemplify that, whether you're white, black, Muslim, Christian, Jewish, where else in the world can we come together and love one another and show the people that if we can do it for
mm,
those who follow true Masonic values and practice them, then why can't you? And
mm.
that's why I believe in today's world of hatred, division, who's wrong and who's right, Masonic values and those who basically emulate them in its true form
Mm.
are the ones who are going to save the society in some way.
Interesting point. I mean, obviously, I would consider that I was involved in Freemasonry, like I said, in recruitment, and we did see success from that. But if I were to be asked, does Freemasonry have a role in bringing about like a new world order instead of a new world disorder, which we discussed in our previous episode? I would say no. I don't consider Freemasonry. I don't know if it's relevant or not. That's not, that would probably require statistics, but I don't believe Freemasonry is the answer to the disorder that we see. And what, like some of the issues we could talk about with Freemasonry. I mean, first of all, the membership, a sign that there might be something wrong is a decline in membership, and this out there, there has been a significant decline in membership, and it's not a secret, and I mean, that is why we had these recruitment campaigns, because, if the membership was not declining, we wouldn't need them, so that, in my opinion, you could at least consider that Freemasonry might not be relevant in this modern age. And some of the issues which you and I discussed before include issues regarding race and women and so on. I mean, if you're a woman, you cannot join the United Grand Lodge of England, whatever image is portrayed, you can't. I mean, you can join, there are Freemasonic groups for females, and we discussed this, that you can join, but the United Grand Lodge of England doesn't recognize them. And I mean, if I opened like a golf club, right, an exclusive golf club, and I said to you, Salman, you know what, Salman, because of your background, right, you can't join, but you can set up your own golf club and you can use the same name, right? Use the same name and we'll be friendly, but you still can't join mine. How would you feel about that? I'm asking you, how would you, in that particular situation, how would you feel?
So to better answer your question in the aspect of relevancy, there's a book called Morals and Dogma written by Albert Pike.
Okay.
Who's known as one of the greatest Freemasons in America that people look up to.
Right.
And in page 202 of his book, I believe so, between 202 or 220, he lists Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha from India, as the first Masonic legislator of the world. And what did he mean by that?
Yeah.
He meant that he was able to bring all of the caste systems of India under one umbrella of unity. So at that time, even right now, they're suffering from the same issue of the caste system, where one is beneath the other and the other is above the other. So Buddha was identified as one who brought unity and love and the aspect of God and harmony and peace to his people. And those are the people that profess true Freemasonry in terms of teaching it to themselves, their communities, their people, the values of being charitable, being a good human being. But again, the aspect of good and bad exists in all races, religions, groups, and countries of the world, where even you have the aspect of many, let's say, clergy leaders who are not representing their faith, and instead of creating unity, they're creating division. And now to answer the aspect of what you're saying, is that it reminds me a lot of my faith, where men and women have their equal and separate, let's say they're in the same masjid, in the same mosque that they're praying, but one level is for the men and the top level is for the women. So, but they're separate but equal, both contributing to humanity's evolution in their own dignified way.
Well, I mean, the author that you just mentioned, Albert Pike, I've seen a quote, and he's specifically talking about Black people and Freemasonry.
Yes.
And the quote, at least in the modern context, could be it could be considered as racist. Now, do you know the quote I'm talking about?
I do know, and the situation of Albert Pike is that he's a very misunderstood character, because in the beginning of his life, yes, it's true, he did hold those views. But as time went on, as the American Civil War came to an end, as there were brother Masons on both sides, Albert Pike actually helped a lot of the Prince Hall brothers after his involvement with the war, because that whole stuff about race was in the war. So after the war had ended, he had contributed and helped a lot of the Prince Hall African American brothers set up their Masonic organizations. And as a lawyer, He also fought for the rights of many Native Americans who were having their land stolen by the U.S. government. And he fought for them to, have their reservations and have their lands, which they were fighting to protect without any fee, for free. So there's an aspect of his life that they do not cover, which is how he helped the Native Americans, indigenous people, and how he helped a lot of the Prince Hall brothers.
Mm-hmm.
So they are bringing a quote from his past before he had a change of character in his heart and mind.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't like talking about specific personalities, so let's leave Albert Pike alone. And I don't mean to attack him personally. If that's the case, I take back what I said, but it's just a quote that he said that's available out there. And it was a different time. But even today, there are Freemasonic institutions that do not recognize their African-American counterparts. Again, going back to the golf club issue, they don't recognize them. How is that relevant in the modern age?
Well, I mean, that's the reason why I myself, because I believe I've even covered that in one of my lectures on Prince Hall Freemasonry, is that anyone that doesn't recognize each other based on race or religion is not a true Freemason. I consider them clandestine. And that's the reason why I myself switched from an American Grand Lodge to United Grand Lodge of England, which doesn't have that problem.
Yeah, I mean, are you
it's all united?
Yeah, are you happy enough to talk about can we talk about your experience, or should I leave that out, your experience with racism?
Oh, no,
cut it out.
No, we have to address everything fully and to the point, so that way there's transparency in our friendly and debate and conversation as brothers and friends.
Okay, so let's talk about that. First of all, the quote about Albert Pike, again, this is not an attack on Albert Pike. I want to make that very clear, but this is what I'm just going to read a quote I found here. So, attributed to Albert Pike, quote, "I took my obligation to white men, not Negroes. When I have to accept Negroes as brethren or leave Masonry, I shall leave it." That's just a quote. So let's move away from that. And now talking about race, again, I was very, like I said, I was very into Freemasonry. But things like this, I just don't consider Freemasonry relevant in the modern age. But you yourself experienced, from your own point of view, racism within Freemasonry that caused you to leave Freemasonry, right?
Yeah, so that's correct. That was in a phase of my life that I was going through where I was trying to find my purpose, find out who I was. And then I was, I'll be honest about the whole conversation.
Yeah.
And you're taught the values of human unity, everyone loving and respecting each other, being charitable. And then you have brothers who call you brothers. Yeah. But then in person, they might make, sarcastic remarks, derogatory remarks, or online. I mean, in person, they'll call you a brother, but online, they're posting things against your race or religion. And when you speak out against it, no one does anything about it. So that's when I took on my own personal journey that I did. So I realized if they're not going to teach true Masonic values, then I'm going to take it in my hand and set up my own independent network, talk about lectures and presentations that they're not going to talk about. I'm going to write my own book, and I'm going to venture to a place where they accept me for who I am, and they support me, and they allow me to do what I'm doing in terms of spreading the true Masonic message. Because as a Mason, you're a builder. If you don't see anyone else bringing the change, then you yourself establish the place that you're looking for in terms of spreading knowledge, whether it's visual in videos and lectures and books, or professing true Masonic values, no matter who or what stands against you. And you survive the odds with your faith in God and with your faith in your brothers and faith in yourself. That is the true Freemason. And anyone who is not like that, they're just basically have the label of a Freemason, but they're not. Just like people who might be, part-time Muslims or part-time Christians, but they're not fully true about their faith, and they don't represent their faith fully.
Indeed. And I just want to plug your book, because, I think you're doing a lot of good work. Can you tell just whoever's listening about your book?
Yes, my brother. Thank you. So you can find my book on Amazon.com. You just search for the Spiritual Reflections of the Sufi Freemason, Volume 1. and you can find it on amazon.co.uk and also in the US on amazon.com.
And tell us about your YouTube channel as well, because you make a lot of good content. And before we continue, just want to let the people know where to find you.
Yes, definitely. So for my YouTube channel, you can go on www.youtube.com/C/Salman Sheikh 911. And that's where you'll find my channel. Or if you go to the YouTube search, you can search Salman Sheikh Freemason and you'll find my channel, as there are many other Salmans out there with the same YouTube channel name. So when you go onto my channel, you can go to the playlist and see Masonic education and Islam, Sufism, and Freemasonry. And you'll see how I made my own individual effort with 100+ videos, lectures, presentations to teach people the true Freemasonry in its true esoteric Eastern origin, and how all of these races and religions and philosophies are all teaching you the same things that Masonic philosophies are teaching you, is to love yourself, love each other, don't hurt anybody, trust in God, and just have a good human life and good conduct with the time that you've been given. So with that, I had many people who have reached out to me saying, thank you for the work you're doing, or many, even Freemasons, even American Freemasons reached out to me that they're not teaching me the true knowledge in the lodge or the places that I'm involved in, and you're helping me a lot. So God is using me for a purpose to even teach the Freemasons their own values that even they have forgotten over time. So that's why I don't lose faith, because I know what this brotherhood is truly and what it stands for.
Okay,
and I'm
so
being used for that purpose to guide them.
Yeah, I mean, okay, let's say that Freemasonry has good ideals or good foundations theoretically. In your opinion, is that manifesting itself in today's world? I mean, you yourself experienced this racism. Did that, over the past few years, has that racism, in your opinion, has that gone?
It's not completely gone, my brother, but through my efforts and through the efforts of others, there has been a gradual improvement. Even with the specific jurisdiction that I was dealing with, there has been major improvements where now they're denouncing racism and they're saying that the true Freemason is the one who accepts everyone. And they're weeding people out who are professing those negative values. So if I was able to bring some kind of a minimum change, or if I was able to change the heart and mind of one person in my life, then I fulfilled my purpose.
Well, one thing I would say is that even before I ever spoke to you, I saw your content about, when you talked about Freemasonry and your experiences, and there was really, really good content. And, I would like to think that you did make a change. I really would. But in terms of, is Freemasonry capable of addressing the disorder that we talked about? Again, my answer is no. And I don't hate Freemasonry. When I still have a lot of love for for the Freemason brothers that and if they're listening, I genuinely love them. And when I said, look, I'm leaving, they only showed me kindness and, intimated that they would prefer I change my mind, but as time goes on, I'm more and more sure that, that I'm happy with the decision I made. And it wasn't like just a split second decision, an impulsive decision. It was sort of building up over time. I mean, there was one incident, there was a single incident, and after that I shortly left. And that was, there was an internal, let's say, online community that we had here, Freemasons only. And I shared some content that talked about, what was it? Talked about, what's the word? Talked about
racism?
No, not racism. What's the word when people don't really care? Like passivity. It's a word. I can't remember the word, but it's like, when you have a situation. Let me just check, actually.
You know what? While you check that, I just want to add something very quickly. So those brothers, the ones that treated you with a lot of love and respect, they are true Freemasons, because what is a Freemason? He's a free man who follows his own personal path, his own individual journey and leaves a trail with his love for God and self and family,
Mhm.
and leave a trail where no one has left anything before. So that's what Freemasonry teaches you, is to put
Mhm.
yourself, your family, your values
Mhm.
first before anything.
Yeah,
So
I
you are
mean,
following the life of a true Freemason by doing what you're doing. So I just wanted to add that.
of course, of course. And again, they only showed me love. And when I said I'd leave, they were happy enough to more than they wanted to stay in contact, and I did as well. But the word was apathy, so I forgot the words apathy.
All right.
Right, and it's about apathy and Freemasonry. So I shared that content, and it was removed. Right, it's a small issue, but what signal does that send if Freemasonic membership it has been in decline significantly,
Right.
and then someone shares content from a Freemason talking about apathy and it's deleted. What if you have theoretically an organization that's in decline, losing membership, and someone talks about apathy within Freemasonry, a Mason, and it's removed. What does that tell you about the mentality and the mentality, that the collective mentality of Freemasonry? What does that tell you? You could ask that question, and that's not why I left that particular incident, but I did leave shortly after that. And I just I mean, I didn't join Freemasonry for it to be a social club, because there are other social clubs out there that also do charity and so on. I didn't join Freemasonry to become part of a social club, right? Because it's supposed to be more than that. Now, if someone approached you, Salman, and said that they thought Freemasonry had just become a social club where people meet regardless of morale and don't even talk about the issues that we're talking about, and then just have a drink after and a meal after.
Yeah.
If someone were to come and say that to you, would you say that they're incorrect? Or, I mean, honestly, what would your honest opinion on that be? Would they be incorrect, or would they be correct?
Oh, my brother. There was a video that I did about the difference between
Mm-hmm.
the social club Mason, the esoteric Mason, the
Mm-hmm.
light Mason, and the dark Mason.
Mm-hmm.
So every Mason who joins has his own intention.
Mm-hmm.
Some are looking for friends and social gatherings. Some are looking for answers to life.
Mm-hmm.
And just like how you have the elements of light and darkness everywhere, human nature, people are
Mm-hmm.
going to be people. So
Mm-hmm.
to also address about the groups, about the Facebook groups,
Mm-hmm.
to this day, there are many Facebook groups that I try to share my messages in,
Mm-hmm.
and the admins would keep my post in pending,
Yeah.
while the other posts that they
Mm-hmm.
approve of, which confirm their bias of the
Mm-hmm.
knowledge that they only want shared, and that's the only ones that they approve, and that kind of makes me laugh and smile, and encourages me that what you're doing is correct. When your network is getting higher and higher, and you basically have your own independent platform as your own free man and as the Freemason and bringer of light that you are. And that just encourages me to keep doing what I'm doing. Them improving my posts doesn't, at this point, doesn't make any difference in terms of the message and the
Yeah.
influence that I've been able to gather with God's help to spread
Yeah.
the message of true Freemasonry.
Mm-hmm.
And, to address the aspect of the social club Mason,
Mm-hmm.
there are many who join with the intention that becoming a Freemason is going to grant me jobs
Advantage.
or
Yeah.
help or favors. And
Mm-hmm.
that's a lot of the ignorance I have dealt with my community as well, who
Mm-hmm.
believe that's what the Freemasons are for.
Mm-hmm.
I joined Freemasonry with the intention of learning knowledge and how I can
Mm-hmm.
use that light to help myself be a better human being and to help
Mm-hmm.
others.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, I was not disappointed. So if
Mm-hmm.
you join Freemasonry with the right intent,
Mm-hmm.
and you know the balance and know that they will tell you
Mm-hmm.
how to get that knowledge and how to make your life better, but they're not going to hold your hand,
Mm-hmm.
because everyone has their own individual journey and
Mm-hmm.
individual realization that they must come to in their life. If I tell somebody something that's going to happen 5 years in the future, I already ruined that whole life experience for them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's better you just tell them what they need
Mm-hmm.
and give them the, I guess, the tools, you could say,
Mm-hmm.
and just let them come to their own individual journey as a builder, like I
Yeah.
did.
Mm-hmm.
I got up, I fell down, I got back up.
Mm-hmm.
I builded my own platform, like the Mason that I am, the builder that I am, that no matter who tried to tear me down, I kept building myself back up and built myself up times 10.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what true Freemasonry teaches you, is to trust God, help humanity, help each other. And those that are not professing that, they're just like, the part-time Masons, or the social club Masons, like like how I call out the people in my Islamic community who only pray and go to the mosque during Ramadan, but the other 11 months, they're being degenerates. So
well, I mean, I don't
that's
feel,
what it is.
I mean, in terms of, I don't know the percentages, right? And I don't want to speak in that, but, I mean, I did not, I didn't experience any significant spiritual growth from Freemasonry. Not only that, but there are spiritual things in the oaths and the, in the ritual that are said. There's spiritual words there, but I never, to me, I mean, if a Mason came to me and said, look, Alexander, I feel this is just a social club that has little bits of spirituality added to it here and there, but they aren't even essential, I wouldn't disagree with that person. I would not disagree with that person. And me, myself, I didn't experience significant spiritual growth. And you could say, well, you take out what you put in, and that's true. But then why do you need Freemasonry? I can find all this stuff online, and most of the stuff I learned about Freemasonry, I didn't learn it from the lodge. Did you?
Fair point, because many of the Freemasons that reached out to me, they do say that, Salman, the type of stuff that you're teaching, even Prince Hall brothers here in America, mainstream Prince Hall from other countries, they all reach out to me, which shows me that Freemasonry did show me the right way. And now it's my own individual path, effort, and journey to not just help myself, but to guide the Freemasons as well on how God is using me. So that's just like anything else, my brother. You join anything, whatever happens. And then after that, it's about the intent and the fire that's carrying you forward. So one of my goals when I joined Sufism as well was to reform the Masonic Brotherhood in the West.
You see, you speak of reform. When you speak of Masonic reform, that means that you, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you see problems within Freemasonry. I mean, otherwise, why would you want to reform it? Am I wrong in saying that?
No, you're right. And I am doing what I'm doing because you have a lot of these guys that come in, they're looking for answers. They're not getting answers. They get disappointed and leave. That's where I come in, to show them the right way. That, look, each individual path that I covered, you can feel your own personal connection to Freemasonry. You feel your own personal belonging, put your own personal efforts for yourself, for the people that you love. And that's how you keep true Masonic values alive in the hearts and minds of the people. And if you do it that way, and if you try to change and structure this structure of elitism and cliques that many have, then over time, you'll be surprised, even those that tried to banish me from many places, now they are emailing me. And I never reached out to them saying that we apologize, we respect you, please join us at one of our functions. So it's just like it says in the religious scriptures that God will prepare a table for you in front of your enemies. And that includes in any endeavor or organizations you're involved in. You're professing the true light, while those with the element of darkness will try to tear you down. But there will come a point where those even that try to plot against you will admit their fault and apologize to you. And that has happened to me recently, that what I'm doing, God is using me for the right purpose, to change the hearts and minds of these people and to teach them what true Freemasonry is in my own unique, independent way, with my own platform and what I'm doing.
Yeah, I mean, I think you and me, we have the same sort of thinking. We have the same ideals. You and me, and that's why that's why we love each other, basically, you and I, I think, but where we disagree is, and I remember you were one of the first people I told, look, I'm going to leave Freemasonry. And I remember you were one of the first people I told. So I think we have the same sort of philosophy. Almost, we're very, very similar. Very good. We're very good friends. But I think we disagree in terms of whether we think Freemasonry is a solution to what is clearly a problem in this modern world. And we discussed the problems in the previous episode, so don't need to go into them now. But I think we disagree. I mean, the way I see it, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you still think Freemasonry has some, juice in it. Freemasonry's still got that potential. Whereas I see it as almost like it's lost the juice. It's a lost cause. The membership, it's like a sinking ship. The membership is declining, and you can see the Grand Lodges, some of them trying really hard to appeal to the young people. But there's clearly some kind of disconnect. Otherwise people will be flocking. You could argue people might be flocking to Freemasonry. So there appears to be some disconnect.
Have faith in me, my brother. I think in my lifetime, I'm in my last year of my 20s. I'll hit 30 next year, and
sure.
Have faith that by the time that I'm 50 years old, 60 years old, if I'm still alive by then, and how throughout time, as time goes on, the older generation dies off, and new ideas, new leaders come in. Have faith in me, and have faith in Freemasonry that in my lifelong quest to reform it, I will do it. And I need your moral support by my side that I will do it for the
benefit. You've definitely got, like I said, I love watching your content, and, we're always in touch, and genuinely like your content, but I think I don't have faith in Freemasonry. I mean, the exact tenets of Freemasonry, what are, in terms of brotherly love, and, those are not Masonic. Those potentially existed thousands of years before Freemasonry was even a concept, an idea. So what is it? I mean, why do we need Freemasonry to understand that? And I think one of the things that's been pushed, to advertise Freemasonry is, Freemasonry gives a lot to charity, well, so do other corporations, so, I mean, if you just Google, largest corporate donors to charity, you'll see a list of organizations that have much more wealth than Freemasonry could even think of, much more wealth than Freemasonry, and they give millions. So that's great, but that doesn't suddenly make Freemasonry relevant. I mean, where is Freemasonry getting that money from? Is it not the Freemasons that are giving that money? Is it not from their dues? So it's not like, I just and I do not have any sort of animosity for Freemasons, and I don't have any conspiratorial thoughts about Freemasonry. That's all. In fact, I think those conspiracy theories, I think that it's possible they may actually be beneficial for Freemasonry, because it gives it that air of secrecy, and people are attracted to that. But in reality, all that conspiracy stuff is just I didn't see any of that, and my concerns with Freemasonry aren't related to that. That's not why I left. Like, I remember interviewing a really, really cool, nice guy. He's educated. He is a Catholic ex-Freemason, right? And so he obviously had religious reasons why, he felt Freemasonry was incompatible with his religion. David L. Gray, really nice guy, check him out online. But I don't think Freemasonry has a significant role in any kind of development of a new, let's say, peace in the world. It just seems like, you tell me, what's Freemasonry contributing to the world right now on the ground? Forget about the ideals of Freemasonry, which you can find in a lot of other places. What is it actually? What do you see Freemasonry contributing in the world today?
Well, my brother, I would say that if you lost your faith in Freemasonry, you haven't lost your faith in me, right?
Of course, no. That's the thing, and I want to stress that, because my issue is not with Salman. It's the exact opposite. Is me and Salman behind the scenes we're like blood brothers. That's what it's like. But so not in you, but I have no faith in Freemasonry. Almost like from a functional point of view, it's just I don't think.
I have a story for you when you're done.
Tell me.
So a great friend of mine and a
Mm.
great Muslim brother of mine, he was from Iraq during
Mhm.
the Iraq war when the war was going on.
Yeah. Mhm.
And there was a time where he was playing outside with his cousin. They were playing soccer, and I guess the soldiers had came and gave them candies or something.
Yeah.
And the insurgents had believed that they were working with the soldiers. So as the soldiers were driving away,
Mm.
there was a suicide bomber that came crashing into my friend's home and ended up
It's
blowing
ridiculous. Yeah.
his leg got amputated. I believe it's
Nightmare.
his left leg that got amputated,
Right.
and his cousin got killed
Mm.
over something senseless.
Mhm.
And who helped? And his mother and himself, they became targets. Their life was under threat. And
It's terrible.
who helped them and sponsored them for them to leave Iraq, come to America,
Mm.
and give treatment and housing and shelter and
Yeah.
education,
Mhm.
the whole package.
Yeah.
It was the Shriners Hospital
Shriners. Yeah.
and their Shriners Hospital is a Masonic
Sure.
organization
Yeah.
which
They
treats.
do children's hospitals as well, I think, right?
Yeah, and they don't take a single penny
Mm.
from any of their patients. So
Yeah. It's a
they
good.
brought my friend from Iraq. They brought
Wow.
him here.
Yeah.
They gave him and his mother a home,
Mhm.
education, and you probably seen my pictures with him recently
Yeah. They
without
were
his
nice. Nice
name.
photos. Yeah. They were really nice. Yeah.
So they changed his whole life around where now
Mm.
he's making a good living. He has his
Mhm.
mother. He has rehabilitated from his war injuries and is
Mhm.
now contributing to the world in many ways.
Mhm. Mhm.
So besides that, I have seen Masonic organizations, not just here I have friends in India, I have
Mm.
friends in other countries. There's so much that they do, but they don't
Mhm.
share that with social media or on WhatsApp. So there's a
Mhm.
lot of unseen humanity, my brother, that goes
Mm.
on. And this my
Fair
friend's
point.
example is just
Yeah.
one of many where
Sure. Sure.
they didn't take a single penny and they saved the
Mm.
life of him and his mother. And now he's a married
Mhm.
man and he's living a good life.
Yeah.
So God used the
Mhm.
Freemasons to help him and make a difference in his life. So it's not about showing off that I'm charitable or
Yeah.
I do this, I do
Mhm.
that, but it's about the unseen humanity. And that's what
Sure.
the true Freemason is, that
Mhm.
he will give to someone and he will help them
Mhm.
without professing anything. And
Sure.
another instance was here
Mhm.
where one of my good friends, he was living next to a poor family and their electric bill was 3 months overdue.
Nightmare.
And in the wintertime, especially when it's cold. And he had 3 months, he had like a life, I think a portion of his job savings up to like 12 to $1,500
Right.
that he was able to save from his job. And he gave them everything
Sure.
just so he could help the family and
Mhm.
help them keep the lights and the gas on for the winter so the kids don't freeze to death.
Yeah.
So my brother, I've seen Freemasons do great things.
Mhm.
And it's not about the organization bragging about its charity.
Mhm.
They tell you to be a good human being.
Mhm.
And those that follow it, I've
Mhm.
seen countless examples of unseen
Mhm.
humanity where you
Mhm.
help someone without telling anybody. And
Mhm.
that's what keeps my faith going, that this
Yeah.
is who true Freemasons are, who love and
Yeah.
respect each other.
Yeah.
And I'm fighting for them to keep this
Mhm.
organization alive and what it stands for.
Yeah. And that's a really good point. That's a good point. And on that, I'm not going to argue because that's a good point. I mean, one thing actually. I mean, like I said, functionally, I just don't think it's. I mean, I think that it has benefits, but if you examine Freemasonry and compare it to other charitable organizations, then who do the same sort of activities. And again, I'm not talking about the intent of any individual, because you have to assume it's always a good intent. But of the organizations, is there anything that differentiates Freemasonry as an organization from any other organization that also gives charity, that also helps people? You could
Yes,
ask that question.
I see it as a venue. So if you
Mm-hmm.
want to ask me my true
Yeah.
intention about
Uh-huh.
Freemasonry,
Yeah.
I see it as a venue
Yeah.
where the teachings of my own personal faith
Uh-huh.
of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, before he died, he said,
Mm-hmm.
be charitable, be kind, and make the ummah one ummah.
Yeah.
That's what I see Freemasonry as, a venue where I
Yeah.
can do that with
Uh-huh.
humanity and teach them how
Yeah.
to be one people
Uh-huh.
throughout all the division and things
Mm-hmm.
that go on.
Yeah.
And Freemasonry itself is a charitable organization along with many other things that happen.
Mm-hmm.
But look at it this way, with all of the other charitable organizations that are there,
Mm-hmm.
what makes you not think that their leadership or their people that are in charge and helping contributing
Mm-hmm.
don't have a Masonic background or influence. So
Yeah.
Freemasons are helping humanity everywhere, not just exclusively with
Yeah.
Masonic organizations. I've
Yeah.
seen.
But the question is, I mean, like, okay, so we can take 10, let's take 10, because we want to drill into this. Let's take 10 theoretical charitable organizations. There are many, many, but let's take 10, Freemasonry being one of them. You know, what differentiates Freemasonry from all the others? Or are you saying that it's just a vessel that you are choosing to use, that it's the same as all the others, but it's a vessel that you're choosing to use? Is that what you're saying Freemasonry is?
Yeah, so Freemasonry is an organization that tells you in a world where people have forgotten about the unity of the human family, unity of God, and helping each other without any favor or anything in return. That's what true Freemasonry is. And I think those are just not just Freemasonry, but true essential human values that people have forgotten. And I see Freemasonry as an organization where we can revive that feeling back in humanity. So
Yeah, sure,
they're doing a lot of great work, my brother. And there's a lot of organizations that they contribute to, but they will never give their name out because
sure.
it's like, you know, what Rumi said, do a good deed and throw it in the river, and in the desert, it will come back to you one day. That's what Freemasons do.
Here's okay, so yeah, no, I completely understand your point, and it's a valid point. Now let's talk about something else, because some of your videos, let's say, are related to spiritual topics, you know, and for anyone listening in, please check out Salman Sheikh on YouTube. But they're related to spiritual topics. You identify as a Sufi Muslim. Now, Sufism is like a mystical branch. Well, it can be called Islamic mysticism. Now, do you see? And again, I was talking to this Catholic ex-Freemason who is now very involved in issues relating to Catholicism, and he's actually written a book about Catholicism and Freemasonry, but he had religious convictions that conflicted with Freemasonry. Now, you as a Sufi Muslim, are there any conflicts between your religion and Freemasonry?
No, definitely not, because Sufism is the Eastern parent of Freemasonry and Rosicrucians and all this stuff that you see in the West, because when the Knights Templars were in the Holy Land, they were studying in Sufi lodges in North Africa and the Middle East. And outside of those Sufi lodges would be the numbers 787. And we get our numerals from Arabic. So
they're Arabic numerals. Yeah.
Yeah. If you look at the numbers in Arabic, 787, that's the square and the compass. And the equivalent of those values, of that numerical value of that word in gematria, is Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, in the name of Allah, God, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful. So everything about Freemasonry and everything that I've seen it was basically Islam for people in the West, from what I've saw it. And that's what its true origins are, from my own personal opinion, from what I was able to understand and make the link between the Knights Templars and the Sufis that they had studied under. So when they went back to Europe, they were being accused as heretics. Yeah. And look, they got persecuted on Friday, which is a holy day for Islam.
And the church actually, and we, me and David Gray, we talked about this. The church actually the Catholic Church banned Freemasonry at one point,
Yeah, that's right. So Freemasonry and Rosicrucianism, even Christian Rosenkreutz was studying with the Sufis in Morocco. So a lot of what you know as Freemasonry in the West, Sufism, it's his Eastern parent. So for me, it's like one and the same. I don't see no difference at all. And if you watch my, I would encourage the viewers, instead of me giving like a whole speech about it, go to my YouTube channel and look at the playlist titled Islam, Sufism, and Freemasonry.
Okay. So check that out if you're listening.
Yeah, I put about 22 videos together which explore and answer this complex subject. And
so it's like a playlist?
It's a playlist. And it took me 2 years, my brother, to put that information together. 2 years of I guess, knowledge, and implementing that knowledge and sharing it with others for free. So that will explain the link between Islam, Sufism, and Freemasonry. and how they are basically compatible with one another.
Do you understand the point of view of, do you understand someone else's religious point of view if they were to say to you that Freemasonry is not compatible with at least monotheistic religions because, you know, the issue with regards to, you know, the supreme being? Basically, for anyone who doesn't know, you have to believe in a supreme being to join Freemasonry. But the issue is that could be anything or any number of things. Now, do you understand some people's point of view when they say that's not compatible with Catholicism, for example? Do you understand where they're coming from? Or Judaism? Would you understand where they're coming from?
Yes, of course. And I would also teach them that the aspect that Freemasonry is of the light, is of God, is of benevolence. And anyone that sees sees God in any other way besides that, not a true Freemason and is not following the true Masonic teachings.
Yeah, I mean, I want to drop my 2 cents in this now. You know, I like to focus on function, and functionally, like I've said a few times here, I don't have faith in Freemasonry that it can solve the issues that we're facing today. But I think I also identify why I've also chosen Islam as my religion, right?
Yeah.
Now, when I was attending meetings, I didn't see anything that was, because people say, oh, it's satanic, and even some of my friends would say it's satanic, and I haven't told, and for that reason, I may have not have told some people that I was a Freemason, right? But I didn't see anything like that in Freemasonry. But what I would say is I actually do think that from a monotheistic standpoint, I'm not talking about any specific religion, but if you believe in a monotheism, I'm not saying there's a conflict, but I'm saying there's an issue, because you have this organization that says, yep, you can believe in whatever supreme being you want. I mean, the word supreme being almost loses its meaning, because you can have someone who believes in 100 made up. Literally, you can have someone who believes in 100 supreme beings that he made up himself on the day, right? You can have that person, as long as he answers yes to that question, he is admitted in. So then what's the point in having, what's the point in having that? And I'm confident that there are going to be atheists within Freemasonry. They just simply answer yep. They can basically, there's a lot of ways to skirt that question, And some of those religions are, I'm not saying this is right, this is wrong, but I'm saying, some of those religions are literally diametrically opposed in terms of supreme being. So I find that an issue, the whole issue of the supreme being. And that's one of the first things. Well, that's one of the things that you have to confirm when you join Freemasonry, that you believe in a supreme being, and that to me is an issue.
I understand, my brother. And again, I know you lost your faith in Freemasonry, but your love and faith is not lost in me, Uncle Sal.
Sal, mate. I want everyone to know that I have a lot of love for big Uncle Sal, platonic, but I do love this. I love Uncle Sal.
Thank you, my brother. Likewise. And to answer your question, when those people say yes to that question, and let's say their intention is something else, they have basically cheated themselves out of being a true Freemason, because what does Freemasonry teach you? That the grand architect of the universe is always watching you. And what does Islam teach you? That one of the names of Allah, Al-Ahad, everything being one, and the other name being Al-Basir, the all-seeing one. He observes you. Allah is always watching you. There was a story of the Sufi Sheikh, and he had instructed 3 of his students, I want you to take this chicken and kill it where no one can see you. One took it in the back of his house and did it. The other took it to the back of the forest and did it there. And the third one came back and said, Sheikh, I couldn't do it, because everywhere I went, Allah was watching me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's those people who do that, who say
Mm-hmm.
yes, but inside they have other intent. The divine knows who
Mm-hmm.
you are inside before you even utter it or try
Mm-hmm.
to create deception. So those people ultimately weed themselves out in whatever way, shape, or form in terms of their understanding, reflection, understanding. Because it says in the Holy Quran in Surah Nur,
Mm-hmm.
Allah says that I bring from darkness to light whom I wish. And there are people that you can
Mm-hmm.
present all the knowledge and books and understanding to, but there are those that Allah on purpose will keep
Mm-hmm.
dumb, deaf,
Yeah.
and so
Mm-hmm.
whoever can join Freemasonry can
Mm-hmm.
do it. But
Yeah,
are
I
all
mean,
get
like,
it through origins and understandings? No, there's
yeah.
only a few that will get it.
Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, if you go back to the Old Testament, there's, the quote, it's in Deuteronomy, "Hear, O Israel, the Lord is our God, the Lord is one," right?
Yeah,
So, okay, so you have that, and then you have a situation whereby, you could literally have someone who believes the exact opposite of that, and that person's admitted. So why, that to me is an issue. Not to say that, okay, if you don't believe in, hero Israel, the Lord is our God, the Lord is one. If you don't believe in that you shouldn't be admitted. But maybe then why not just make it a why not just remove that aspect from Freemasonry? Either institute that the supreme being is one, or just remove it from and just make it a what you call it, like a non what's the word, like a non-religious, just losing the word, what's the word for non-religious,
atheist,
no, not that,
secular.
yes, secular, yeah. Why not just make it secular? Why bring in all that, you know
Yeah, I mean, in a way, Freemasonry is a secular fraternal organization where
mm-hmm.
everyone can come together and follow their own individual path. But also, since we're both Muslims,
Yes.
I can relate the aspect of what Allah says in Surah 5 that
Mm-hmm.
Islam was revealed in stages. So
Mm-hmm.
basically, Islam was revealed in degrees.
Mm-hmm.
And everything that has existed since the time of ancient Egypt up
Yeah.
until now, it
Mm-hmm.
was all Islam. Everything
Mm-hmm.
is Islam. It was all being revealed in a succession of stages where in Surah 5, Allah says, with the Quran, I have now perfected your religion.
Mm-hmm.
And Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, he came to perfect the
Yeah.
adab, the character of mankind.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
for
I
me,
mean,
so
yeah.
for me, my
Mm-hmm.
faith, what Freemasonry teaches, it's
Mm-hmm.
one and the same, and I'm
Sure.
striving, and I'm teaching people. It's like
Yeah.
here in America, my brother, there are many people after the post 9/11 world.
Mm-hmm.
They never got the chance to learn about Muslims, who Muslims were, sit down with them, talk with them,
Mm-hmm.
realize that we're all the same. We're all trying to live a better life and survive in the world and help our families.
Mm-hmm.
And it's those that watch the news, the propaganda. They
Mm-hmm.
said, oh, Muslims are evil. They're this, they're that. Stay away from them.
Mm-hmm.
And those who took the time to study the true origins of Islam, the
Mm-hmm.
true Quran, true origins of what it is, what it stands for, rather than the individuals,
Mm-hmm.
they came to accept it and they came to appreciate it for what it was. The
Mm-hmm.
same thing with Freemasonry. Freemasonry, in its true esoteric form, comes
Mm-hmm.
from the East. And with its
Mm-hmm.
practices and values, have been taught by the philosophies and religions for thousands of years,
Sure, sure.
like I have covered in my videos.
Yeah.
That's the normality that I'm trying to restore in my own unique way. So
Mm-hmm.
I know where you're coming from as well, and I also know what true Freemasonry is, and
Sure.
that's what I'm fighting to preserve through my own way, as you've seen.
Yeah, no, and I think you're doing such a good job. I mean, who else? I mean, the type of
No
stuff
one
you're
else,
talking
brother.
about, are there other, that's why I have a lot of, support for you, but just not Freemasonry. But with this specific issue, my own personal opinion is that if you're going to mention the supreme, if you're going to make that part of Freemasonry, the supreme being, then if you and I agree that there, and we're not talking about religions, right? I want to make that, I'm just not even talking about religions, but if you and I agree that there's one single unity, one single truth,
Sure.
right? Then just having this sort of having this belief where, yep, you can believe in whatever supreme being you want to, regardless of unity or multiplicity.
Yeah.
That to me is it's not acceptable.
Have you read Surah 2, verse 62 in the Holy Quran?
I've probably read. I would have read it because I've read the
And
book
you know
many
what it
times. But
so it tells you basically on this exact same issue
wait,
that
let me just get it up for accuracy because I don't want us to misquote any texts. What's the exact number? Actually, can you get up the exact quote? It's just I don't want us to misquote any religious texts. You know, for anyone
oh
listening in.
definitely, my brother. So let me know whenever you're ready.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, so Surah Baqarah, Surah 2, verse 62.
Uh-huh.
It says the English translation, quote, "Indeed, those who believed and those who were Jews or Christians or Sabians
It's beautiful.
before Prophet Muhammad,
Mm-hmm.
those among them who believed in Allah,
Mm-hmm.
God, and the last day and did righteousness, will have their reward with their Lord, and no fear will there be concerning them, nor will they grieve."
That's such a beautiful. Yeah,
This quote is
yeah,
basically telling you what the
yeah,
Freemasons are teaching you is that
yeah,
you follow God in your own unique way, but as long as you do right by
mm,
yourself, you do right by your others, and don't hurt anybody on the
yeah,
day of judgment, you shall have no fear. So it doesn't get more simple than that, my
yeah.
brother.
That's true, but I mean, the question is, are those? And I agree with that 100. I mean, I love that quote because it says whether you're a Jew, Christian, whatever. But you know, you can attain that which you seek. But I don't think it says that. Yep, you can deny the unity and everything's well. I don't know if that's what it's saying. Because that's I don't like I'm not interpreting that verse, but the essence of Judaism and the religions that came after it is strictly it should be strictly monotheistic. So I think Freemasonry either needs to be completely secular or it can't just have this sort of ambivalence where yep, you believe whatever you want and you know you believe in the supreme being and we're all good. I just think that's
Well, see,
unacceptable.
that's why it is, in its fine print, it is a
Mm.
secular organization, and they tell you
Yeah, it's not
that
a religion. Yeah.
that within its within its walls you are
Mm.
not prohibited to discuss politics or religion,
Yeah.
but we're on our own independent platform and professing our love for what true Freemasonry is, and
Yeah.
me myself trying to preserve those true values for
Uh-huh.
future generations.
Sure.
So it's basically everyone's own individual journey.
Mm.
The reality is that I can give you all the answers in the world, but there will
Mm.
be some moments in your life where some things will not make sense to you
Mm.
now. They'll make sense to you later,
Mm.
and they'll, make sense to you later on down the road. It's just like how God himself revealed Islam through a succession of prophets,
Yeah.
through religions, through degrees.
Mm.
So if he was able to give everyone everything at the same time, then people would not learn their lesson. So there comes a time where things have to be done
Mm.
in a specific timeline or succession for you to fully grow
Mm.
as an individual. If you get all the answers and realizations now, then what purpose would the rest of your life serve? Because we're
Indeed.
all learning and growing every day.
Yeah. I see what you mean. I see exactly what you mean. Okay, so that's that issue covered. What was I going to discuss next about Freemasonry? Um, yeah, I mean, I think one thing we definitely both agree on is there's this negative perception about this conspiratorial conception about Freemasonry that is I think one thing you and I will both agree on is I didn't see that. I didn't see anything that even resembled that.
Exactly. It's
I
like the
think,
people here, my brother, in the post 9/11 world when they
uh,
saw all the negativity about Islam and
yeah,
Muslim. And they sat down and got to know Muslims and went to
yeah,
mosques and
uh,
sat down and ate with them and became friends with them. And they
yeah,
realized that the agents of chaos
uh,
have infiltrated all races, religions, organizations of the world. And I'll be blunt. Freemasonry is not immune to that, and that's who my struggle is against as well. The dark aspects to teach people the true light. And I hope in my life God gives me the privilege to see that day
mm,
where I restore humanity's faith in many aspects, not
mm,
just with the organizations, but for each other in a world that's so divided. And I'm
yeah,
using Islamic and Masonic values for me one and the same. to do that. So I tell Brother Alexander, and I tell whoever is listening, don't lose faith in each other. Don't lose faith in yourself. Because the enemy known as the darkness will appear to you in whatever form is near and dear to your heart to try to destroy your faith and to try to get under your skin.
I mean, one thing, I mean, again, I'm very happy with my decision to leave Freemasonry, but again, I still have a lot of love for the Freemasons. And one thing that irritated me is I saw this interview where there was a person being critical of Freemasonry. It still aggravates me to this day, even though I don't consider myself a Freemasonry. The person was interviewing the CEO of Grand Lodge of England, right? And the person was basically almost suggesting that, you know, membership should be made public, you know, basically as if to suggest that membership should be made public. And I just thought that was ridiculous. I mean, it's a person's private information, whether they join Freemasonry or not. It's no one's business, you know.
Exactly. I could go into a home, my brother, and I could tell a husband and a wife, why are you being secret, and why are you hiding everything?
Exactly. Yeah.
Why don't you share with people whatever you're doing? So there comes a time of morality and common sense. And a lot of people, unfortunately, give Freemasonry and Islam both a bad rep. And that's where I come in to try to defend both of those aspects, because I know they're both teaching the truth in their own way. And it's people have to know. Everyone, I mean, I can go into your home. You're not going to share all your secrets. So everyone has a right to their own individual journey with God and themselves. So that's the bottom line. I mean, you just have to come to your own realizations. Like I can go to a Sufi Sheikh and I'd ask the Sheikh, in your 50 years of practice, 40 years of practice to get to where you are, can you give me all of the secrets and basically give me a speed post to where you are right now? And he's not going to answer me. He's not even going to reply to me because I have to work my way up to that level.
Exactly.
That's for the people who are expecting Freemasons to answer everything for them.
Yeah.
They're not gonna hold your hand. You have to come to your own realization.
Exactly. I mean, I just agree with you. And like I said, I don't consider myself Freemason, but all this conspiratorial stuff, I mean, any organization, as long as it's not, you know, causing harm, they should be able to have the all the secrets they want. I mean, companies, you know, research and development companies, secrecy is of utmost importance to them. You know, when the phones that we use, the companies that develop them, don't want to name names, but the biggest companies that develop them, do you not think that they develop those in strict secrecy, you know, to protect, you know, their labor camps? Not that, but to protect the intellectual property, you know. And I remember seeing this same, I think it might be the same interviewer, you know, asking, you know, whether, you know, to make certain things that Freemasonry's whole secret as public. I mean, why should they have to? So on the whole conspiracy thing, that's just, to me, it's just, you know, it's a load. It's just, it's got nothing to do with my view on Freemasonry, or I just don't buy into it at all. And I didn't see any of it. And I took oaths in Freemasonry, and I don't see any reason why to break those. You know, there's secret, you know, you take an oath for secrecy, and that's on you, whether,
well, it's reflection on you. You basically have to be a man of integrity.
Exactly.
And a man of word. And there was recently that I had told someone near and dear to my heart, and I told them that instead of playing with someone's feelings and jumping around and telling them that one day you love them and the other day you don't.
You told me about that. Yeah. Tell us about that. Whatever you can tell us.
So whatever, I told them that in order to be happy with God, it's like how you are, my brother. You are a Freemason, now you're not, but you respect what you went through and what they entrusted you
100%. Yeah.
So 100%, it's about being a man of integrity and a man of your word. And if you're not a man of your integrity and not a man of your word, it doesn't matter if you're a Freemason or not. God's favor will not be upon you.
Yeah. I mean, I have to say, like, I genuinely have like literal love for the Freemasons that I came across. And when I left Freemasonry, because I know it's a bit of a touchy issue, you know, I just posted, look, you know, I just basically explained that I'm leaving, and that, you know, if you want to unfriend me, that's fine. But the response I got was not that. The response was, even if you leave Freemasonry, you still want to stay in contact, still want to be friends. And that's my experience. It was love. And
Exactly.
I still hold love for the individual Freemasons. I have a lot of love for them, but I do not have love for Freemasonry as a organization. That's the difference. Do not have any love for Freemasonry as an organization, but the people, um, when I say love, I mean that. I just love them,
Well,
including
have
yourself.
faith, my brother, because everything changes with time.
Mhm.
Give it like 20 to 30 years when the people that are young now, they become in
Yeah,
charge of leadership.
yeah,
And in our lifetimes, if we're able to see that, have faith in those good Freemasons that
mhm.
are continuing to fight for change, like myself and
Yeah,
others. And what does it teach you? You have to put yourself, your
mhm,
family, your own values first before anything. So
mhm,
whether you're part of Freemasonry or not,
mhm,
officially or unofficially,
mhm,
you're still practicing the life of a true Freemason by being a
mhm,
man of integrity, being a
mhm,
man of your word,
mhm,
and following what clicks with your heart, your own
mhm,
independent path as a free man like you are.
mhm.
So it's like what I told that individual. If you
Yeah,
jump from one thing to another, then you're not just cheating yourself, you're cheating
mhm,
God. So
mhm,
be a man or a woman of your word, and
mhm,
everything will work out for you.
mhm. Excellent, excellent. So tell me, what do where do you see Freemason? And I want like specifics. Where do you envision Freemasonry going in the next 5 years? Let's say, what advancements do you think will be made, or what do you see it in the next 5 years, Freemasonry, from your point of view? How do you hope it'll be?
I see it, my brother, becoming more digital. So
Interesting.
as we see the aspects of, let's say, during the COVID lockdown, where
Mm,
myself and many other brother Freemasons, they came out with their own YouTube channels,
mm,
podcasts, books. So
mm,
everything happens for a reason.
mm,
And maybe that's the reason why this happened, where Masonic education and true esoteric teachings were not being focused on.
mm,
And now, myself being amongst the countless Masons who have these channels,
mm,
or anyone who's willing to sit down and learn and
mm,
observe this information, has
mm,
it now on the internet.
mm,
You don't have to pay anybody to join anything or to do anything. You can
mm,
sit at home, look
mm,
up whatever subject you want, and you can learn about it. And so that's
mm,
the contribution that Freemasons are making right now. The
mm,
which COVID, there are no coincidences. Everything happens for a reason, and
mm,
maybe COVID was the reason where they would take this aspect of spreading knowledge on a digital basis and starting
mm,
these channels and doing all of these great lectures.
mm,
So I think in the next 5 to 10 years, it's going to be more digital and it's going to
mm,
become more virtual.
mm,
Um, as time goes on, it's going to,
mm.
I guess, accommodate to the younger generation in a way
Interesting.
where it makes it comfortable for them and it welcomes them and not
Mm,
alienates them in any way.
mm. Yeah, I mean, I think that is if an organization that is declining in membership in this day and age, that if you don't do that, you risk, you're putting your organization at risk if you don't use whatever digital means, virtual means are available. And that was the focus of when I was involved with higher ups regarding recruitment. That was my focus because that's what I like to do.
Yeah.
And that I agree with you that that is essential. If you know if an organization is going to survive in this modern age. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. It was a very good debate. I enjoyed that with you.
Thank you, my brother. The honor and privilege is mine. And of course, Uncle Sal loves you. And we will continue to fight for the future, whether I'm doing with my
Mhm,
Islamic and Masonic ways, whether you're
mhm,
doing through your independent ways.
mhm,
It's like I tell people, find a talent that makes you contribute to humanity's succession and use that to help people. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's between you and God.
excellent, excellent. So, yep, that sounds good. So, for whoever's listening in, like I said before, please check out Salman's content because it's pretty sweet. And thank you for listening. If you're still here, and Salman, do you want to wish everyone a good night, and do you want to send them your the classic Uncle Sal love?
Yes, Uncle Sal loves you all. For you and your families, I
Mm,
pray June 2021 and the rest of the summer and
mm,
season ahead brings you much peace, happiness, and joy.
mm.
And again, this is a friendly debate between myself and my brother. Yes, so I just wanted to give my love to everyone and to say that this is just a friendly debate between my friend and brother, Alexander. And we do not represent any Grand Lodge statements or opinions, just ourselves as free men.
Excellent, excellent. So if you don't like anything that's been said, don't come after Uncle Sal, because he's not speaking for any Grand Lodge. He's speaking his individual, he's using his individual freedoms, as am I. So yeah, I mean, I'm in the same sort of boat. I mean, everything I've said is my own personal opinion, and it's, you know, it's not fact. It's just a point of view. So I think that's important to say.
Yes.
And I hope everyone, including yourself, Uncle Sal, has a great rest of your night wherever and whenever you are tuning in from.